I am a semi-professional race car driver. And my car? Sponsored by my wife. And I just DIY'd it into a race car.
And it was a lot, both physically and financially. Keep in mind, this car is running flawless before I started this crazy idea to build a Corvette track monster for a Nitto Tire driving line event that we were invited to last minute. We started by going to Texas Speed for stage 2 camshaft and upgraded the valve train so this thing could soar at higher RPM. New gaskets all around, and since pretty much everything in this car is now 21 years old, the snowball of might as well while I'm in there began. With the event just days away now, we've got to get this thing back on all 4 tires now. And doing all of this with no professional experience just might end up with this LS1 blown to pieces when we actually start to push this thing. Only one way to find out though.
She's got to get rowdy. Let's go. Don't float around the corner.
I knew you were going to say that.
And here we are. If you haven't seen the last video, right there before you continue on with this one. But we got to get moving on it. We got to hurry. We got a few more days before we hit the road for 1,500 miles to the desert to go hang out with Nitto Tire, the driving line, and a whole lot of sticky rubbers. All right, guys, welcome to Lone Star Hawaiian's Racing, a division of Mobetta Built Industries. All joking aside, we have a ton to get done on this Corvette, which we're calling Kolohe. Kolohe in Hawaiian is rascal, and then up to this point, it's been a complete rascal to build from the day we got it. All right, here's our get her done list for the Kolohe Corvette. We got a ton. A bunch of stuff in the engine bay. Up underneath, we have LED lights from LastFit, who is sponsoring today's videos. And then down in the rear end, diff fluid, brake fluid. We need to spend some time with the tune. We have some Nitto NT01 very sticky tires getting mounted up, as well as a bunch of safety stuff we got to figure out for the inside.
First things first though, the biggest killer of time on these projects is being disorganized. So quickly straightening up the garage here to get things back in order, and with that done, we need to finish the installation of our exhausts. Headers are in, but everything else takes some finesse to get the tips to line up straight out the back.
But before we continue with the exhaust, let's heat it up just a little bit. I'm dying to hear that V8 rumble again. This thing is nasty! Woo! My goodness, I love my wife's car.
And after spending a few hours with this exhaust, we perfected the angle of the dangle and got everything lined up just perfect. But we also decided to go ahead and install wideband on here, permanently. If you're tuning a performance car, or something like this 2004 Corvette that we've now heavily modified, a wideband O2 sensor is one of the most important tools you can have. And for that, we have this Ballinger system that worked flawlessly when we used it on the truck.
But for a reason I'm unable to explain, it doesn't work with this car. It prioritizes the Ballinger AFR over the MPVI3, so only outputs air-fuel ratios and nothing else. So it's kind of one versus the other. So there's another way to do this, and it's to actually put it in a little more analog, a little more manual. But I don't want to make that change with my Ballinger system. So we actually have this AEM wideband I bought a while back. I was going to install in this car permanently, and it looks like today's the day.
The sensor reads the air-fuel ratios all in real time. Basically how much air mixes with the fuel in your engine. Running too rich, too much fuel, wastes power, and obviously fuel. While running too lean, not enough fuel, can cause pre-detonation and serious engine damage. A wideband gives you precise feedback so you can dial in that tune perfectly, keeping the engine safe, efficient, and most importantly, making maximum power.
Power. The Cook's long tube headers and X-pipe actually has a bung, an O2 sensor bung, that's meant for a wideband. So it's an open spot with just a plug in it. So we pull the plug out, put this guy in, wire this guy up, and then we got to figure out how to hook it through the HP Tuner's ProLink. That way we can run it through our HP Tuner software on the laptop so we can tune this thing based on the air-fuel ratios actually coming out of the exhaust. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to get from under the car to into the cab. And we also put our spark plug heat shield on the wiring. So this is gonna run fairly close to those headers going across into the engine bay and inside, where we're gonna mount that gauge. But I believe from the gauge, we actually run another wire from the gauge down. That way we can run it into the computer so we can do our tuning. Bingo! Right here. You can probably see that bung right there. It's funny to say bung. Could go there, over the top of this header. This is quickly turning into one of those while I'm in there projects. So first off, C5 Corvette, known problem with these things is the climate control. The LCD or whatever, the power screen just stops working. So it works fine. I just cannot see anything on this screen, temperature, anything else. And I think there's a known solve for that by pulling that off and resoldering a few points. We're gonna do that, but we have this pulled apart because my AEM wideband gauge, which we're mounting up there on the A pillar, needs power and ground. And the best place to get that is usually over here or down there in the footwell. So what we're figuring out now is where to pull a switched on ignition power, and I'm gonna ground it here in that radio bezel area. This is turning into a while I'm in there project. And while I'm in there, we have a new one of these. I've been slowly collecting parts for this car for 1.5 years now of just miscellaneous things that are broken. And one of those things that are broken is the dashboard insert cover thingy-majig. It shattered and fell into a million pieces a while back. We're just going further backwards than forwards. I want to get this on the ground and driving because I need to tune it. But while we're in here, this is always fun. Running wires up under the dash and this falls out. Any ideas where this goes? Let me know in the comments because I got no idea. It fell out of here somewhere. So here is our climate control. Right now, this screen is completely dead. I believe there are a few resistors that go bad. So we're gonna pull this apart, resolder those down, and put her back together, and then hopefully that fixes it. All right, so there's these 8, I think they're resistors with 16 contact points that we're gonna drop in just a bit of solder. Hopefully this solves our problem.
Climate control, seemingly fixed. I'll find out here in a second. Now with that done, I wanted to do some modifying on the A-pillar gauge mount for the wideband. I wanted it to sit further away from the steering wheel, which required some careful Dremel work. Came out perfect. Except I mounted a dang cluster before plugging in the wires. Rookie move.
I've always wanted to fix this. I hope this works. All right, plugged in. I'm so stoked about this. Yes. I don't know how long we've been driving this with this just dead. I swear, my wife's cars hate being modified. No matter what car it is, hers act up. All of mine behave. It's been a project all day long. Don't mind this. This is an inside joke. I don't know, I've been laughing all day at it. So we have this back together. This works. Hallelujah. But all of a sudden, my relay started buzzing again. And those of you that follow me on Instagram know about that nightmare, but it turns out the battery got low. So it turns out the O2 sensor on the wideband, if I leave that on, man, it burns up the battery really quick. So we got that figured out. We're back on the trickle charger and we're down here now because we are now underneath working on the exhaust. The driver's side connection just after the headers was just a little bit lower than the passenger side. So I loosened it up, turned it, and went back to tighten it and completely sheared off and broke. 2.5 days away from getting another band clamp because these are the ball and socket band clamps that curve. Went to Tractor Supply and we're building our own bolt and socket thingy. My truck, the ZL1, perfect every time. Her cars, they hate me.
With our headers mounted up again and our Tractor Supply fixed, it was finally time to start buttoning up the front of this car to get it back on the ground.
We need to finish up our oil cooler install. So we have Improved Racing's oil cooler kit. We have 2 massive 10AN lines that run over to that oil filter location, so it kind of circulates in and out. Has a thermostat on it, so it actually won't even open this up until 180 degrees. So when you get these lines tucked up out of the way, mounted in, sway bars back in, we need to mount this down for good. And I gotta figure out why in the world my alternator is not working at all. I started it up last night. It went from 12 volts to 9 volts in about 45 seconds. One thing after another with this car. All right, and of course, I did that wrong. So these 10AN lines need to be going over the top of this cross member underneath the steering rack. So we went over the top of that one, but this one needs to go over, which means we gotta unhook the freaking oil cooler, which means oil's gonna pour out of there. Lovely. The radiator actually is held down by gravity, hopes and dreams, and 4 10mm bolts. This actually holds the top where it needs to be, bolts into here, and it's this plastic piece that holds it in place. Now this was cracked when I pulled it off, so I did what any Mobetta builder would do and epoxied the heck out of it. It didn't work the first time, so I did the exact same thing again and just tripled up the volume. So hopefully that's gonna do. Once that's mounted down, we'll just put a sticker there and no one will know. We're starting to collect a vast collection of stickers. This is fun. All right, Summit or Texas Speed? I'm thinking Texas Speed. So because I removed our EGR system and that big old air pump that sits in the front bumper, one of those tubes actually went to our air filter, so I gotta plug it somehow. Okay. Ooh, she looks pretty. So we're gonna fire this thing up here in a second, but yesterday I was messing with my new wideband gauge. Stoked about this. But I accidentally calibrated it while it was in the exhaust. So when I started data logging, the mixture was off. The AFRs weren't matching. So I pulled it out last night. It's been hanging there all night. And I'm gonna recalibrate it in free air. So this is a free air calibration. AEM says that everything comes pre-calibrated, that this is not needed. This is kind of something you can do as the sensor ages. But since I screwed it up yesterday, that should have fixed it. All right, this Cook's exhaust system is really nice because it comes with that O2 sensor bung ready to go, just plugged. So you have my primary and secondary O2 sensors still installed, and we have a fifth location just free to install a wideband. I want to hear this thing, but we also need to figure out what is going on with my alternator. The good thing about filming all this stuff and creating these videos, I was able to go back to the initial first start, and we had a charge system fault message pop up on the dash. Didn't know what that was about. Started it up, ran just fine, idled just fine. Yesterday, did the same thing, and the car about died. Now this thing running should read around 13, 14 volts. My battery voltage is way low. Charge system fault on the dash.
Now if I check the voltage right at the post on the alternator, I should be seeing at least 14 volts going back to the battery.
It is doing nothing. I don't understand why the alternator is not working with the battery. This thing's gonna be so rowdy. It's been 2 seconds for you guys, but it's been 3 hours for me trying to diagnose this thing again. I do not want to pull my header back off, but pulling this light back out again, it turns out there is another freaking wire down there. Look at that. See that nasty greenish corrosion? Yeah, that's tucked between the starter and the block. I would never see that. But that, I believe, is the fusible link linking battery B post to the battery, which means this won't charge that without that hooked up at the starter. So our job now is to somehow get my arm and hand and everything in there, and then remove the positive side on that starter, put that wire on the positive side, hook it back up, and then hopefully this is my last electrical issue, this car. All right, hands are bleeding, elbows tweaked. Let's see if we solved for anything. Yes, 12.8 at the alternator. We're reading good on the voltage. Yes! Woo! Oh, I want to drive it. I got a million other things to button up, including the interior we tore out.
So with the alternator finally working like it should, funny how things don't work when you don't connect them, I put the interior back together and hid away all of our new wiring for the wideband.
Oh yeah, interior back together. Let's see. Yes, we're back on. Oh, I'm so happy to have that working again. Yes, the goal with this thing is a dedicated race car with air conditioning. We have brake ducts going back on. Should we put our Corvette covers on or run naked? I don't know. Whatever you guys say in the comments, we'll either run the Corvette covers or leave them off. We have our lower skirt air dam valence things that are just torn to shreds, and I have brand new ones that's going on. Got him, coach. And these guys, brand new. Brand new 2003.
It's pretty cool to see all the functional venting on this 21-year-old car. These small, I'll call them nostrils, on the front lower side of the bumper actually funnel air onto the back side of the brakes for cooling, and these skirts on the lower side scoop up air through the radiator to keep the engine cool.
Out with the old, in with the new. New air dams installed. So surprising enough, this is an absolute critical part of a C5 Corvette, because without that, a lot of the times you overheat. All of the air that goes into this engine actually gets scooped from underneath. This doesn't do anything. This goes to the brake ducts, and everything else goes up and over the car. All the air is scooped, which also means these things get torn to bits, especially here where I live, where it's backcountry roads in a high growth area, which means semi trucks, and our roads are just completely torn to bits. I can hardly drive on any of the roads near our house. Okay, exhaust done, wideband setup done, dipstick done, engine bay reassembled minus hood. That's done, done. Next up, woo, I've been waiting for this, guys. Last fit LEDs for the KOLOHE Corvette. Now, this is the brand that I've been running on my vehicles since the start of the YouTube channel. The 2007 Silverado, 8 years ago, we upgraded the reverse lights with a set of last fit's LED reverse lights. Night and day difference. And in fact, those same exact lights that I put in there 8 years ago are still in the truck. And we still use them. And because of that experience, I've now upgraded essentially every single one of my vehicles to last fit LEDs. The backup lights or reverse lights on this car are essentially holding a candle at night. They're useless, but that's not gonna be the case anymore.
First thing we're upgrading with last fit, reverse lights and license plate lights, bringing this 2004 Corvette all the way into 2025.
Fairly confident this has never been removed. I love these older cars. Everything's held in with like screws, bolts, unlike new cars that are just plastic clips everywhere that break. I cannot imagine working on some of the newer generation cars in about 15 years. Everything's gonna break, everything. These are my favorite. Gonna pop the license plate light out, say goodbye to that, and welcome to 2025. I don't know why they don't do this from factory. License plate lights, there's no need for them to be that ugly. Look at that, 10 times better. Woo, that is so much better. Such easy little things to change up on your car that will just completely transform it regardless of the age of it. 21 years old car, that looks so much better. Now these are Last Fit's LS Plus headlamps that are incredibly bright. Now these are actually gonna be for Sarge's 99 Silverado. We're gonna surprise him here. These are gonna be night and day versus the halogens he's running right now. All right, she's about to come down. We're just gonna admire this one more time. Cook's long tube headers, exhaust all the way back with the X-pipe. Oh, this looks so dang cool. This is gonna be epic. I gotta figure out something for here. Kent used to have a Corvette little sign, and then when it got totaled and sat in that Copart lot, someone stole the plaque off of here. Now these wheels and tires are coming off again soon. So we got these bad boys, but we're gonna do that very, very last. If things go south with this car, which is a high possibility because we're gonna rag on it over the next few days. If it survives, it gets tires. If it doesn't survive, those tires are going on the ZL1 and we're taking the ZL1 to California instead. Woo, look at that shimmy. And so we do look like we're a little bit lean. So that bright blue number and then the dark blue number. So basically what the car is doing is detecting that it's a little bit lean and it's adding fuel onto it, but it's not adding enough. So current AFRs are sitting around high 14s, low 15s. I don't know, I'm just learning. All right, Cletus, I get you. It's cool without a hood. This is the rowdiest thing I have ever driven in my life. This is a special experience. Thank you guys. Without you watching these videos, we couldn't be doing this. And if you're enjoying it, scroll down, hit that subscribe button below so you can see more of this action, because this thing, very soon, is gonna have to be going wide open. This thing's gonna be a monster in California. Hello. Did you get some breakfast? Hood is back on, guys. My father-in-law, the previous owner of said Corvette, was over yesterday, so he helped me get this hood back on and situated. And we started kind of playing around with a few lines for potential liveries, which I'm kind of working out in my head. But hood's back on, we went to flip the headlights on, and nothing. But the thing is, the lights are on. I believe the friendly gods of artificial intelligence directed me wrong. This apparently was for the air pump EGR system, but it turns out this is the headlight module. So I gotta put this back in so these come up, these will come up, we can swap these out, fix this motor, and we have a whole bunch of other aesthetic goodies because what's a race car without a wing?
And unfortunately, the car is so low that it has to come back up to get this module back in there. The good news, headlights are working again, but I do need to change out one of these motors.
Now here's the issue. And actually, it's a known issue with these C5 Corvettes. There's a plastic gear on the inside that ends up stripping. All right, headlight replaced. Flip that switch. I hate this car. Why? I hate this game.
So what we did, we swapped the black and the red wire that goes to the motor because both of these pins have 12 volts, which tells me that the polarities, I believe, when it pulls one to the ground or the other one to the ground, it either opens or closes the headlamp. It's running opposite.
That one wins the race. It's way faster.
But at least they both come up now.
Telling you guys, the best way to learn is just to do. Start working at something, and trust me, something will go wrong. And when it goes wrong, you're forced to go figure it out. And we took a little bit of time and relined up all the panel gaps. So gap, 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 all looks good. Took a little bit of time, but all right, please work. Yes! Good. And no noise. Last thing we're doing, and this thing's back on the ground, we are upgrading our marker lights. Finally. I'm not normally a fan of chrome. These are a lot of chrome, but the wheels are also chrome. This is a head nod to the previous owner of this car, my father-in-law, who loves a good chrome. So, Kent, chrome for you. Gonna add that one there on the other side. And why in the world did I put this back on? Gosh dang it. Out with the old, in with the new. My goodness, these look slick. Yeah, that looks good, but check this out. You got the stock factory ones and the new. That looks amazing. That was a good choice. Heck yeah. If only it wasn't such a pain to install. These parts seemed such a good idea when I was on the internet. I've been slowly collecting parts for this car for like a year and a half, and we're finally installing them on this car. That looks so good with the wheel.
Babe, you're gonna love this car. I've never hollered like a child at a quarter throttle.
Okay, well, it didn't like the idle log, but we've been running for 22 minutes now. Frick yeah, that is exactly what we needed for this data log. Perfect. I keep sneaking off on little drives, and I can't articulate how good it feels to drive this car. It sounds incredible, it feels amazing. And the data logs actually look pretty good so far already. But Matt did just send me his channels list that he would like for the tune on the car. Essentially what that means is a list of channels or items that he needs to see as his car drives, and that way he can make adjustments in the tune file based on what's being commanded, what the car's actually doing. So I need to go and spend a little bit of time on the computer to set all that up, but before I do that, I want to do something very controversial. It's something that Red Bull has figured out. It's all about wings. And we got a little baby one. Yes, this is a ZR1 style wing for the C5 Corvette C6 ZR1. So basically it's all aesthetic, but this car really does need something in the rear. Perfect. Just pull better. That looks really good. I love that little slight detail. Just sets it off just a little bit more. It's so loud. We got all of our channels set up. It's actually doing an idle log right now and get all that data in there, and then we'll take it on a 15 to 20 minute drive. And then he takes that information, makes changes in that tune file to make this thing run correctly.
So it sounds like all the data logs are looking great. So we're gonna go wide open here in just a second, but we have one last addition from last fit that's gonna transform this interior.
All right, let's unhook the battery, see what I can do about these lower ones. All right, we're looking good so far. So popped our light out. We have this ugly halogen we're popping out of here. Sorry for the flickering. We got our footwell light. There we go. And this one should be pretty dang cool. So last fit we have their T10s, and we have this one, T10B. What do you guys think the B stands for? All right, let's see how this looks. You guys remember the theme of this car. We have the factory color, which I don't know offhand. It's kind of like a gray blue tint. The calipers, we went with this like hyper blue metallic, I'm gonna call it. And this hyper blue is gonna be a theme or a color you're gonna see throughout the livery and things we do with this vehicle. Underneath, our footwells is kind of a creative spot where you can kind of play around with some colors, because this is not gonna interrupt what you do driving, hurt your eyes, things like that. When you open the doors, the lights turn on. If you're gonna implement any creative colors, this is a great spot to do it. And it doesn't require any wiring. You literally just pull the light out, put a new light in. And yeah. The last fit, T10B. Yeah, B stands for blue. Let's freaking go. Fast and Furious vibes right here, guys. That looks so dang cool. Guys, there'll be links in the description below to all these last fit products. They are affiliate links, so if you guys want to support the channel, support what I do here in this garage, it's a great way to do it. There's our driver's side. Pop that bulb out. Last fit going in. Now these LEDs will be a little bit tighter going in, but the connection's real nice once it gets in. All right, here we go. Last fit T10B installed. These things are so versatile. I've used these on anything from my 2007 Silverado to my 2000 Mercedes to this 2004 Corvette. Somehow, some way, I find a way to implement these T10 lights, even our license plate lights, T10s. Man, that is cool. Got the back taken care of, got the front taken care of. Let's freaking go! Wow. This car has changed a lot in 2 weeks. Now we could technically do the same thing with our trunk lights. So we have two lights. We're running the last fit T10s. I want to be able to see what's in here as well as possible. But this, more or less cinematic effect. Oops, wrong button. What do you think? Good. Is that cool?
Yeah. That's super cool.
One last ad before we hit the road for some wide open throttle pulls is wheel guards. So these are actually from a C6 Z06 for that rear quarter panel because the tire's so fat. But I've heard you can actually modify these to work when you have kind of a wide body kit on a C5. That way I don't absolutely destroy my quarter panel once we put very sticky tires on there.
These took a little more finesse than I initially thought. Measure, cut, to make sure it forms to the aftermarket carbon fiber quarters we have on this car. We also swapped in some hardware, so it bolted up solid to that rear bumper. Overall, it actually turned out pretty dang OEM-like.
Hey, that's not too shabby. Not bad for a piece of plastic and cut it up with a grinder and try to make C6 parts fit C5s. Going back to why we didn't paint or do anything with this, because I knew this was gonna match that, so these two kind of tie in together. I don't know if for someday gonna do something different. I think a gloss black on the spoiler with a gloss black splitter will look really good on the rear of this car, but for now, that matches that. That looks somewhat OEM. That looks really cool. And I just got the thumbs up to go wide open throttle on this thing. Let's go. Go half throttle. Figure out the heel toe, don't make fun of me. This thing's like mentally and emotionally draining. I just turned the car off and I feel like my head's vibrating right now. That's the true sign of happiness when you're, woo! That was wild.
I think I let my guard down. Certain things ain't the same now. Hard to navigate these problems. I'm by myself, you're not around. I try to open up, it wasn't good enough. Put them all and got nothing back. Now I'm stuck in the rain, dealing with all this pain. Why you gotta do me like that? Say you love me, take it or leave me. Keep
exhausted. Today was a beast, but car's back on the ground. No electrical issues at the moment. And Matt is currently doing his witchcraft to make this thing run amazing. We're only on revision number 2. I think we got a few more revisions to kind of dial it all in to make sure she's good to wide open throttle, because this isn't a drag race. We're not wide open for 10 seconds. This is going to be minutes at a time. I am hoping this thing comes back from that event in one piece. Only time will tell, and the best way to learn how to do it is just to go out and do it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with me and her for this last little part of the video. I am freaking terrified. We'll catch you in a few days for our next video. Till that day comes, let's go! Y'all take care. Ahoy ho! Aloha.
That was amazing.
Well, I wasn't planning on putting this in the video, but Matt just sent me the latest log. He said everything looks good. Take her up to 6,700 RPM. I've never been that high before.